Hi, it's Rob from Innon here, and in this video I'd like to introduce you to a new set of products that go under the umbrella title of Innon IoT API. Now what this is a couple of Niagara modules that we've developed. One is called HTTP Resful API, which is a server and client component for receiving and sending data over HTTP methods. And the other is a JSON kit, which is a set of components to decode JSON messages that you might receive from another server or client. So the reason for developing these two products is that we've got another product called Milesight, which is a LoRaWAN product, and it has a gateway which uses HTTP server data posts to get data from the LoRaWAN sensors into a Niagara station. But aside from that, you can use this product more widely for any site or cloud-based server or client interaction with Niagara 4 stations. Okay, so you could use that to push data to the cloud using, say, a JSON as an edge device to get, say, metadata up to a cloud application. Or you could use it to request data from the cloud. For example, you could request weather data, or you could request travel information and decode that in your Niagara 4 station to use that for your application in there. Okay, so I hope that's of interest to you, because I'm going to show you a little presentation now to go into a little bit more detail about how this kind of thing works. So let's have a look at the different scenarios we can use the HTTP modules in. So in this scenario, we've got the JACE, or the Niagara 4 station, acting as a server. It's waiting for a client, which in this case is a Milesight UG65 LoRaWAN gateway, to initiate the comms and send it a post of some data from LoRaWAN sensors in this case. So the way it does that is a HTTP post method. This is the client, the Milesight, saying here's a new update from one of my sensors. It goes into the Niagara 4 HTTP servlet out of our Innon API palette. And then that is then sent downstream into some JSON modules out of the JSON kit to decode the data coming from the Milesight sensors and put it into Niagara 4 components and slots, but for you to use in your station. Now, another method I should say, that a client can use HTTP is to use a GET. So this would be a client, not a Milesight actually, it wouldn't do this, to say I want some data out of your Niagara station. Now our servlet does not accept GET commands. It just won't understand it. It will not respond, so you need to be aware of that. And if this is the kind of thing or kind of application that you're trying to do, then you can use a Tridium set of HTTP client components. You will be able to do this kind of method using those. Let's have a look at another scenario where we reverse the roles. Now our Niagara 4 station is the client, and it's trying to get some data, or it's making requests for data or to deposit data at a server at the other end. Okay, so in this case we're going to try and get some weather data from a weather data provider, say in the cloud somewhere out on the internet. And what we're going to do is use an text HTTP client module out of our Innon IoT API modules, palettes. And so we're going to do an HTTP GET method from there. We're going to say, what's the temperature going to be tomorrow? Okay, so the server receives that. It finds out, you know, what time and what place you're talking about. You probably have that in the message as well. And it will reply with some data saying the max will be 28, mid 15, average 21. Now that will go back into the Innon HTTP component, the client component, into the response body slot. And then we feed that into our JSON components in much the same way we did as when we were being the server, but with the client in this case. And then we can put that into other, you know, Niagara 4 components further downstream, say, you know, writable, numeric writables, I should say. And that can be used in you know, for PX pages and things like that. Or you can chart it and alarm it and things like that, just like any other Niagara component. So another scenario is where the Niagara 4 station wants to send some data to a cloud-based server. In this case, it's an AM&T app which wants some energy data. Okay, so the way we do that is we use a text HTTP client again. We connect it to some very simple data like a numeric point that just has total kilowatt hour, for example, and we'd use an HTTP post method to say, look, here's some meter kilowatt hour data for you. The server say thank you very much, and I'll store that in my database. Well, I hope that helps explain these two Niagara modules to you. If you'd like some more information, please go over to innon.com, where you can go to our support site where you can find data sheets and user manuals, and also there's some articles related to this on our knowledge base.